Hello, everyone. I am really pleased to see you and meet you and have you here in our course. This is course DSAB, and it is the first course, Psychological Social, that everyone takes in this program. Most of you are coming new. Some of you are taking as an elective and are coming, but most of you are starting the program fresh. Some of you have actually started just out of undergraduate school, and this is sort of continuation. Some of you have been doing this for a long time, and some of you haven't been in school for 10 to 20 years. You're in the right place. You will succeed. If you do the assignments are broken down incrementally, and you'll be able to succeed and do well in a course. The course will set you really well for the ongoing program. It is an overview. We look at all the variety of elements that are in disability studies. We look at the things from what's called the different models, the social model, the medical model. We look at veterans, we look at disability justice, we look at jobs, we look at a whole gamut. Each week we do a different module. I will be presenting another video that shows you how to get around Brightspace. We use Brightspace as the platform. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been doing this from the 80s for a really long time. You see, I have gray hair. I started out working to get people out of institutions to create community programs and to close what at the time were state institutions, very much like Willowbrook that many of you are from New York and have known about. I worked in Pennsylvania on an institution called Pennhurst. Pennhurst was in many ways the granddaddy of them all. It actually preceded the exposés and litigation around Willowbrook. The Pennhurst court suit went to the Supreme Court 3 times and set what's called case law, which eventually led to what was the case law for the Olmstead Act decision by the Supreme Court, and eventually led to the ADA. We'll talk about legal issues in the courses as well. I worked for the federal court, and my job was to help put in place the pieces that were needed, the planning to get 1,200 people out of this institution. So I cut my teeth on seeing the development, early development of group homes and small programs. The second big part of my career was self-advocacy. I helped form what was called Speaking for Ourselves in Pennsylvania, and worked on self-advocacy for decades. The national organization, self-advocacy organization called Self Advocates Become Empowered, which some of you are familiar with, actually started in my house. So I've been working directly with people with developmental disabilities for most of my career, helping people speak up. My really overarching goal is to help people gain a voice. The last number of years since COVID, I've really moved to teaching people how to use technology. When COVID hit, we started what was called Disability Zoom, and over the course of a year, we trained 2,000 people. That number's hard for me to even think about, but 2,000 people how to use Zoom in the beginning days, if you can remember back to that time. Since that time, we've moved on to doing what's called technology first, or enabling technology work in 7 different states, helping people on Zoom. We've trained almost 7,000 people across the board. And more recently, we're moving on to training people in artificial intelligence. Personally, my brother had a disability. I myself lived in an institution for quite some time. And I think that's where, I really come to this work from seeing that. But I have to admit, it took me a long time to connect those dots and realize that I, like many people, family members, was in denial for, a very long time. I grew up on Air Force bases. My father was a navigator in a jet bomber under the Strategic Air Command in the Cold War. His job, he was on alert. He was on the edge of the airport. His job was to fly the plane to Russia and drop bombs that, in the Nevada War would have, blown up the world. His one plane had bombs that were 10 times more powerful than the nuclear weapon that we dropped on Nagasaki. So it was a very different kind of life living in the military and growing up on Air Force bases. I've done a lot of policy. I was the vice president of the Pennsylvania Lead Council long ago. And also I've had the really good fortune to know and work with many of the key leaders in the field that we'll be studying. Judy Heumann, who's considered the godfather of displaced justice. Justin Dart, who was considered, I should say, the grandmother, the grandfather of passing the ADA. Um, a lot of people who I had the chances and will read about. Many of them have passed away since these days. So with that, I'm going to leave you with a warm welcome. We will do most of our work online through the discussion boards. We will have two Zoom meetings like we're doing today to get to know ourselves next week on September 3rd. And then later on November 5th, we'll working out the research papers, the research projects, the field work, all the pieces that we'll do. So I welcome you, but those are entirely optional. This is entirely online program. Nobody has to come to those, but I appreciate you coming and I encourage you to come. With that, I'm going to end this. I will do another one that helps you get around Brightspace, and we'll see you in the course. So thank you all for coming and being with us, and we appreciate and we look forward to seeing and meeting all of you more directly. Bye bye, everybody.